Hey everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel God Will Do It For You. My name is Steven. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. And what we're going to be talking about today is when God uses you as a testimony. And the reason that this is important is because sometimes we don't realize that what we go through in our life is going to be a catalyst to keep someone else encouraged come in the future when you run across someone that's experiencing the same thing that you've already overcame. And for me, this past weekend, a lot of different things happened, and my son was just very upset on a lot of the things that were going on with this person that messed up his stuff and things of that nature. And the one thing that I was able to do, because even I was tense and still tense a little bit this morning, but my body is slowly letting go, because I've already been through similar situations where things that were unfair have happened, and God not only turned it around, but God gave me double for my trouble, as the book of Job talks about. And when I was able to relay this to the person, I wasn't relaying it in a sympathetic way. I was actually relaying it with enthusiasm, because I was like, hey, don't worry. I've been through this. Anytime there's a situation that you did not create and you feel it's unfair and you've done what you're supposed to do, you go to God, you go to him with your petitions, you give him your concerns, you cast it all to him, you give it to him, and just watch what happens. And when I was able to give my examples on how God turned things around and how immediately that person's attitude shifted from a state of hopelessness to a state of optimism, it gave me that clarity that, hey, sometimes the picture is bigger than what we go through. Sometimes things that happen we may look at as unfair in our life, and we're like, this is crazy, nobody goes through this, not realizing the impact that you're going to make in other people's lives when God says it's time to expose you to the world. And I always just ask myself to remember, because it's easy to pay attention to the here and now, but there's a reason why when we devote ourselves to God and he allows us to experience him, he's doing that for a reason. He's not giving you a sneak peek of him being actually real just to make you happy. It's so that way your faith is now built and you can bring other believers in, because you're like, no, I've seen it. And God usually does things in pairs. So you're like, I've seen it more than once. So I know it's possible. I know things can turn around. There's no reason to be worried about anything if you truly believe in God. Now, yes, sometimes concern may slip in. Sometimes a little anxiety might slip in. But hey, it's okay. We're human. But as soon as you recognize that these uncontrollable feelings are starting to creep in, you need to go ahead and be proactive, give it to God, and move on with your day by handling your current priorities. One thing I've learned is that we don't have to be malicious. We don't have to do anything. God's got it. And usually he'll do things in a way that's even more creative than what you initially thought. And that way, by the time you come out the situation and you're like, wow, I didn't even have to do anything again. It's almost like the story of Gideon in the Bible. Gideon and his army didn't even have to fight the Midianites, because they were just obedient to the instructions that God gave them. All they did was make noise, throw glass jars with flames on the ground, and cheer to give it uproar. And what God did was he made their voices sound like a mighty army, and the Midianites fled. They left everything and fled. See, this is what we mean by when we trust God and give it to him, he knows how to take care of it in a way that you would have never thought it needed to be taken. Sometimes we may want to take things in our own way, in our own control, and we could actually make it worse. But when we put our trust in the Lord and lean not on our own understanding, that's when God can use you as a testimony for others to come. That's where you get to grow as a Christian. You get to grow as a person, a human being, and say, you know what? I recognize now I am not the same person, because I know if I were younger, I may have did whatever. But because God has worked in me, and God has shown me a different way of being able to handle things, because even with Jesus, even though Jesus was betrayed and he could have destroyed everybody that betrayed him, he chose not to. He chose not to, because they were handled. They were handled. And so that's why we always have to remember, God's going to use us as a testimony one day. And you never know why your actions are so important, and God chastises us double because of his expectations on us, but also because he knows that our purpose and what we're trying to do in the world, the will that he has for us for his kingdom, it supersedes anything else that we think matters. So God has to make sure, if he sees something bad happening and he sees that you're not going to do anything about it, he will allow it to happen, so that way you can see the consequences of it and realize why you should go ahead and fix it. It's almost like me 2 years ago. Like I said, ever since that incident where I was dealing with something emotionally the wrong way, and I overdrank one night and hurt someone's feelings, from that day forward, I've never had alcohol in the house overnight. And if I do decide to have any type of anything, it's a very small amount, and I don't keep it in the house. And that's just a promise that I've made to myself, that, hey, you know what, God, I get it. You don't have to make me go through this lesson 2 times. Like, God knows how to protect what he is trying to do, and sometimes that's by allowing life to happen to us, so that way we can fast forward on the growth that's needed in us to meet the time frame of whatever God has for us. And so for me in particular, that particular event that happened 2 years ago in April was catalyst to the growth that I've acquired now. I don't know how things would be if he didn't allow what happened to happen. But I'm glad he did, because I didn't want to bring that generational curse. My dad was an alcoholic, and he really didn't stop drinking until 2 years before he passed away. So he was 78 when he really kind of started chilling out with it. But my dad's situation was different. He was in the Vietnam War. He's had to kill people. He's seen things, and he chose to deal with it with alcohol. And so I would see him drink. Once he comes home from work, I would see him drink, and it'll be a certain amount, but dark alcohol with him did not mix well. He was very mean, very, very mean, very mean. And I knew in my heart that I did not want to carry that, and I did not want to carry that habit to my son or any other children that I would love to have in the future. But it all comes into perspective of why God allowed things to happen, because God's like, you know what, you want to get rid of the generational curse and be a testimony to show people that, hey, this is possible. But you're not strong enough to do it, because I've given you chance after chance after chance. I'm going to have to allow something to happen that I know will hurt you, but you will then make the change. It's almost like the story of Joseph. He had to allow those things to happen to Joseph to get Joseph to Egypt. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure God could have gotten Joseph to Egypt other ways, but he chose that particular path because he knew Joseph had a big mouth and was going to get himself in trouble eventually, and he knew that Joseph had a jealous family. And so he said, I'm going to have to use this route to get him here. This is why it's important to always just look back and remember what God has done for you. That way, when someone comes to you with their trial or tribulation, or just starts talking out of the blue, you're able to actually give them some wisdom, some godly wisdom, something that they can actually take home and really meditate on and hopefully utilize to make better decisions going forward. But the only way they're going to do that is if you look back and remember what God has done for you, so that way you can be a viable person that has a great testimony that can make a big impact for God's kingdom. So I hope this video's been a blessing. Give it all to God. Your concerns about the economy, give it all to God. Your concerns about relationships, a house, or maintaining what you have, whatever the case may be, give it to God, because God, what he is looking for is he first in our life? If we have a conundrum or a complex situation or anything that we're just like, man, you know, what God is looking for is he the first love in your life? Are you going to go straight to him first, or are you going to outsource, and then when you feel like you've run out of options and you're like, shoot, I need to go to God? See, we expect God to give us immediate miracles and things of that nature like a genie quickly, but some people don't have God first in their life, and they wonder why those prayers aren't being answered, or they wonder why things aren't turning around, or whatever the case may be. The more we take God serious, the more he'll take us serious, and the more he'll allow us to experience him, to be a testimony, to be a David, to be a Joseph, to be an Abraham, to be a Samuel. You know, it takes a certain type of person to be someone that God could utilize. And God knows this. So when we go to him about our goals and dreams and things of that nature, he's like, okay, gotcha. This in the world that you live in, if I were to just give this to you, you would destroy it. It's almost like a 16-year-old. If you give them a Ferrari as their first car, it's a good chance they're going to get either a lot of tickets or wreck the car. It's too much power. It's too much. They might need a Honda Civic. So the point is, again, look back, give it all to God. That way you could be a viable testimony to someone in the future. So I hope this video has been a blessing. If you feel led to like, share, subscribe, definitely do so. I would love to have you a part of the channel. I'm going to keep grinding it out. My goals are in full-fledged, full stream. Everything's in place. All I'm doing now is just working towards my goals, working towards my purpose, taking care of my son, and I'm just going to allow God to handle the rest. Taking care of my health the best I can, skincare products, my face looks brighter. I've gotten compliments on it. I'm doing everything that I should do to tell myself, this person that you thought you were, you weren't that person. God is showing you who you really are. And the more we walk with God, the more he'll keep exposing exactly who you are becoming. So again, like, share, subscribe. Otherwise, have a great day. Until next time.